So we're starting with a panel that's already been gessoed. We're ready to start putting things onto the surface. What you might be interested in doing, some people like to do this just like a painter does, what's called underpainting. Now I'm just working with a little bit of powdered charcoal, so maybe I want to get something going onto the surface for any reason. So if I may put something down. You can put down some designs if you like. It all depends. I may even put down some kind of a crayon. This happens to be an oil stick, but I'm doing it so lightly that it won't even affect the fact that we're going to be putting wax over it. Once I do that, just to get something going on the surface. You don't have to do that. You could collage, you could draw with pencils or markers, whatever you want. And if you don't want to pre-draw onto your gessoed surface, you don't have to. But now we're warming the surface up. We're getting ready to apply our first layer of beeswax. The reason we're warming it up is so that the surface will help move the paint quickly and evenly. So here we go, we're loading up a Hakey brush with some beeswax, and notice how I move the brush and the gun together quickly and as evenly as possible. As I got to the bottom of the panel, the brush was losing paint and the wax was getting cool. So I've come back to the bottom and I've added a little more. You have to be careful with your gun. You don't want to overheat your surfaces. We'll give this like a few seconds to cool just a little bit so that we can add another layer of beeswax, because the layering of the wax really helps when you start to do anything with texture or carving in. So as you can see, we've got 2 layers of wax. It's fairly smooth, a little bit of an underdrawing going on. And from here, maybe we'd like to collage. Well, I've got some printed tissue paper, I've got some fabric, I've got some nice netting. Maybe we'll use some netting today. I like to work with thin papers. I like to work with thin fabrics. Stuff that blends very easily with the wax. So while the surface is warm, pressing the netting down makes it a little bit easier. And maybe we'll also just add a little bit of a printed tissue paper on here too. So let's do this. We could burnish this a little bit. The tissue paper is giving me a little bit more of a resist than the netting. So I'm using the back of a brush. I should be using a spoon. An old spoon would do the job even better. It wouldn't be gouging my wax. So I'm gently, very gently applying some pressure. Now we'll come back. Again, the gun went back on. Notice how I keep the heat moving along.
So you don't have to go in one direction?
No, you don't. As long as you're kind of liquidy. I'm noticing that the netting is grabbing the wax a little bit unevenly, so I'm kind of coming back into it with a little bit more wax. So that's basically how you would begin to collage a piece.